Hi, boys and girls. Mrs. Kappel here. How are you today on this wonderful Wednesday? Well, I was wondering if you know a little something about the weather for today. Yeah, it's going to be a hot day today for sure. It's going to feel like summer weather, even though we are still in the season of spring. But I wanted to take advantage of this hot day to talk to you about a particular animal that relies very heavily on the ocean and some creatures that live in the ocean. It's the polar bear. So, as you can see here, the title of this book is called Ice Bear. And I chose this very hot day today to talk about an animal that doesn't like it hot at all. In fact, the colder, the better. And this is a wonderful story by Nicola Davies, and it's called Ice Bear in the Steps of the Polar Bear. As you can see, these are actual photographs. Our people, the Inuit, call it Nanook, white bear, ice bear, sea bear. Others say it's a bear, all right, but not like any other. It's a polar bear made for our frozen world. So we're talking about a group of people called Inuit. They're Eskimos. Polar bears have longer necks and legs than their closest relatives, the brown bear or the grizzly bear. No frost can steal polar bear's heat. It has a double coat, one of fat, 4 fingers deep, and one of fur, which has an extra trick for beating the cold. Its hairs aren't really white, but hollow, filled with air to stop the warmth from escaping. And underneath, the skin is black to soak up the heat from the sun. Only a polar bear's nose and the pads on the ends of its toes are without fur. If you look at the bottom of your dog's feet, if you have a dog, you'll see the pads. There's no fur on there. There's fur between them, but not right on them. Its ears sit close to its head, neatly cut out of fur and the cutting winds. Its feet are furred for warmth and grip. So, polar bear stays warm no matter what. It will sleep away a blizzard in a drift and wash in snow. Do you wash in snow? Well, tiny ice crystals rub the dirt from the polar bear's fur. Polar bears are careful to keep clean so that they stay camouflaged against the snow and ice. Polar bears stay warm in temperatures of minus 40 degrees and lower. So that is very, very cold. Polar bear is a great hunter. It outweighs 2 lions and makes a tiger look small. A single paw would fill this page and shred the paper with its claws. So what you're showing here is that's a footprint. That's pretty big. Polar bears are the biggest hunters on land. Male bears can be 10 feet long and weigh as much as 10 men. That's pretty heavy. It can run as fast as a snowmobile or walk and walk for days on end. It can swim 100 miles without a rest to cross the sea between the ice floes, then shake the water from its fur and walk again. Polar bears' fat keep them warm in the cold seas. Webbed feet help them to swim, and water-shedding fur help them dry off quickly afterwards. Nothing stops polar bear. So webbed feet, if these were his paws, see how your hands look like this? Well, webbed means that there's a skin right in between, like this, like a paddle, kind of like a duck's foot. It makes it easier for him to swim. Hmm. Pretty strong animal, don't you think? Seals are its prey. It hunts them far out on the frozen sea, waiting at a breath hole or stalking them as they sleep. So when um, seals find a break in the ice, that's where they come up and take a breath. That's their breathing hole. Polar bears can catch seals only on the sea ice. So hunting is best in winter and early spring when it's the coldest and there's the most ice, right? Polar bear is a white shape in a white world, invisible until it's too late. A lightning paw strike, a crushing bite, and the seal is gone. Polar bears got to eat, right? But polar bear is gentle too. Mother polar bear in her winter snow den tends to her newborn cubs. She lifts their tiny bodies in her great paws and suckles them. Newborn polar bears are tiny. They weigh just over 1 pound, about the same as a guinea pig. In spring, she'll take them hunting, and for 2 years she'll protect and feed them until they've learned, like her, to hunt alone. Polar bear moms usually have two cubs at a time, but sometimes they only have one, or very rarely, they'll have triplets. What's a triplet? Do you know? Three babies, right? Alone. Through summers, when the sun tracks up and down the sky and one day passes to another with no night between. Hmm? No nighttime? In the Arctic, it's light all the time in summer and dark all the time in winter. Alone through winters when the sun never rises and the stars of the Great Bear sparkle in the darkness. When the sea ice melts in summer, polar bears can't catch seals. They'll eat almost anything instead: fish, dead birds, berries, even grass. They're hungry. Alone. Until the paths of two lone hunters cross, they'll wave their heads in greeting, clasp their jaws so tenderly they wouldn't break an egg. Cautiously, they'll try each other's strength. Then play. Giants flowing in the whiteness, tumbling, beautiful as snowflakes. Real fighting is very dangerous for polar bears. So the males play fight to find out who's the strongest without either bear getting hurt. So they're testing their strength until they part and slowly go their separate ways. We, Inuit, we watch Nanook as we first watched when the earth seemed new and polar bear showed us how to love the Arctic, how to hide from the blizzards in a house of snow, how to hunt for seals with patience and with speed, how to live in starlit day and sunlit night. Many polar bears and Inuit have passed since then, and we still share our world with gratitude and pride. Some scientists think that when humans came to the Arctic around 40,000 years ago, they learned how to survive by watching the polar bears. Now, I know in lots of books that I have read to you during the month of April when we talked about Earth Day, we talked about saving electricity, turning off lights, things like that, because we like the polar bears and the polar bears need the ice. Hmm. Well, polar bears are kind of in a little bit of trouble because they rely, that means they really need the ice in order to hunt and to survive. And The earth is warming. Not like today where it's warm in the summer, but generally all year long, the earth is a little bit hotter, and that is affecting the polar bears. So let me read you some things about what you can do to help protect them. By international agreement, polar bears are protected wherever they roam, but global warming may be melting the sea ice they depend on. That means the earth is getting warm. Here are some things you can do to help preserve the polar bear's Arctic home. That means how you can help save his home. Switch off lights, televisions, and computers when you don't need them. You see, if you use less electricity, that means you're using less energy, and less energy is going into the atmosphere and warming the earth. Bike or walk instead of getting in the car. Every little bit helps. So I know we live in the country, boys and girls, and if you need to go to the store or to go shopping, it's kind of far away. But you might be able to do lots of shopping in one place if you leave the car in one spot and do a little extra walking here and there. That little bit would really help the polar bears. Every little bit helps. So this is the index page, and you look up the pages to find out about these polar bear things. So if you wanted to know about their diet, meaning what they ate, we would look on page 16 or 23. If it talked about the toe pads, that would be on page 9. If you wanted to find out about camouflage, you could read it up on page 10 or 17. So this will give you a quick reference if you wanted to jump back to the pages in the book to find out more about the polar bear. Okay, so my friends, this is a read about the world book about polar bears, and I hope that it's going to make you wonder more about the polar bears. Now, that's something that nonfiction books do. They make you think, they make you ask yourself more questions about it. They should excite you. There should be something in here that you want to find out more about. So if you have any questions, you can talk to your parents, talk to grandma and grandpa, and look up ice bear, polar bear, and find out more about it. And if this book is making you more interested in polar bears, that's going to be really good for polar bears because when kids like you are interested in something like this and you care about it deeply, that means you're going to take care of it. Well, I hope you enjoyed my story, boys and girls. Bye bye for now.